In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, how much is vibranium worth? Let's talk about the economics of vibranium. Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Market Power, where we explore the economic forces shaping our world. Although vibranium has existed throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was 2018's Black Panther which really opened our eyes to this valuable, rare metal. In this video, I'm going to do three things. First, I'm going to show you that there's enough evidence from the movies that we can actually estimate the price of vibranium. Second, I'm going to take that price to estimate the value of Captain America's shield, which is of course made from vibranium. And then third, I'm going to say, can we use this price of vibranium to actually understand how much Wakanda in total is worth? Because Wakanda is the world's only source of vibranium. And I'm going to show that there are some key economic insights we need to understand that final question. So let's start looking at these. First, how can we estimate the price of vibranium? Well, there's enough evidence in the movies if we just look at some key scenes across a few different movies. First, we can go to Black Panther and go to the opening scenes where T'Chaka reveals that Ulysses Klaue stole a quarter ton of vibranium. When T'Chaka reveals this number, he shows us 50 canisters of vibranium, which lets us know that each canister weighs 5 kilograms. This is important because if we then go back to Avengers Age of Ultron, what we see is Klaue 24 years after his heist. And he reveals the remaining vibranium. As that comes down, we can count that there are about 15 canisters left. 15 canisters of vibranium at 5 kilograms per canister tells us that he has 75 kilograms of vibranium left, which makes sense. Ultron is buying this vibranium to build a robot body, and 75 kilograms is a good size for a body. Now, how much did Ultron pay for that vibranium? Ultron sends Klaue a few text messages confirming the money transfers, and the total of these transfers is $2.6 billion. However, we might not be seeing all the text messages, and in fact, if we go back to Ultron's mind, we can see that the figure that he has is $4.5 billion. So we're going to just use this range. That's $2.6 to $4.5 billion for this remaining vibranium. So if Ultron bought 75 kilograms of vibranium for $2.6 to $4.5 billion, that means the value of vibranium is about $35,000 to $60,000 per gram. This is just a mind-blowing number when we think about it, because gold today sells for between like $40 and $45 per gram, which means this is 1,000 times the value of gold. If this calculation is wrong, where is it going to be wrong? Well, it's not going to be in the purchase price, because we have a pretty good idea of what that purchase price is. It could be wrong in how much vibranium he actually buys. Maybe we're not properly estimating how much vibranium Klaue has left. But even if we say that Klaue still has all 250 kilograms of vibranium, that means the price of vibranium is $18,000 per gram. Still astronomically larger than gold. But I feel pretty confident about this number, so we're going to stick with this $35,000 to $60,000 range. Now that we have the price of vibranium, let's appraise Captain America's shield. Since we have that price, all we need to know is the weight of Captain America's shield, because then we can take that weight, multiply it by the price, and that will give us the value. Fortunately, someone's already calculated the weight of Captain America's shield. Rhett and Lane used evidence from the movies to calculate that Captain America's shield must weigh about 19.9 kilograms. That is just under the size of a 45-pound plate. As you can see, this is just a little bit more, but probably within the estimating area. So at 19.9 kilograms, that means that Captain America's shield is worth about $700 million to $1.2 billion. Now you might be thinking, this is a lot of money to be just throwing around carelessly. But you have to remember which generation Captain America is part of, and that he worked for the government. Those people are used to just throwing money around carelessly. Can we apply this to the value of Wakanda? Kyle Hill over at Because Science already attempted this using figures from the comic books. The comic books say Wakanda has 10,000 tons of vibranium, and that the price of vibranium is $10,000 per gram. And so he arrives at the figure of $100 trillion. First, let's replicate this naive estimate. As far as I know, we have no evidence for how much vibranium exists in Wakanda. So we'll borrow Kyle Hill's number and use 10,000 tons. And then we just have to plug in our price, that $35,000 to $60,000 per gram, which then tells us that the value of Wakanda is $350 to $600 trillion. This is about 5 to 7 times the amount of the world's total output in 2018. So is Wakanda really worth 5 to 7 Earths? No, we've made an economic mistake in making this calculation. We have to ask ourselves, why is the price of vibranium so high? And the answer is that Wakanda has been hoarding it. When they hoard this and only let a little bit of vibranium out into the world, then the world is going to give it this astronomical price. We have to think about Wakanda as if it were OPEC. OPEC is a collection of oil-producing countries that manipulate the supply of oil in the world. In fact, the price of oil is very sensitive to OPEC's decisions. Back in the 1970s, when OPEC embargoed the United States, oil prices quadrupled. And so the same thing is with Wakanda. It is manipulating the global supply of vibranium such that the price in the world is astronomically high, and the price in Wakanda is dirt cheap. And that's going to play a part in Wakanda's industrial revolution, which I'm going to talk about in another video. You could be pushing back on me and saying vibranium's value doesn't come from the supply, it comes from the diversity of uses. But to show you that that thinking is wrong, just think about water. Water is like vibranium in that it is used in so many manufacturing processes. But it's even more important than vibranium because it's necessary for life. And yet in the United States, we dispose of water pretty freely, as if it didn't cost anything. And in fact, in countries where potable water is scarce, the price of water is much higher. The price of water isn't just related to its uses, it's related to supply. And that's why economic thinking is so important for estimating the value of Wakanda. The truth is, we just don't know what the value of Wakanda is because we don't know how much that price is going to drop once Wakanda actually gives the world access to its vibranium. Because once Wakanda actually lets other people have vibranium, that price is going to plummet. And so that gives us the answer to the questions proposed at the beginning. Vibranium is worth $35,000 to $60,000 per gram. Captain America's shield is $700 million to $1.2 billion. And Wakanda's value? We just can't estimate it right now because we don't understand enough about supply and demand in this market. Thanks for watching Market Power today. If you're interested in more videos on economics, please consider subscribing. We come out with videos every Tuesday.